Hi, I'm Grace,
And I'm Prisca.
and this is the Fighting Club, a space where being together makes us stronger.
Take a break and hang out with us.
Hey, Prisca, how are you
Hi,
doing?
Grace.
How are you doing? How was your trip to Korea?
It was it was fun. It was long. I just got back, and 2 days after I have finally reset back to Seattle time, which I'm very thankful for because the last 2 days was pretty rough in terms of the jet lag.
Yeah,
But yeah, I finally got a full night's rest last night, and I feel good today. So
good. I'm pretty impressed that you got over jet lag in like 2 days, because I think it takes me over a week.
yeah, I mean, I kind of had to.
You're
It was
forced to.
rough though. It was really rough. People who saw me were like, "Are you okay?" Like a zombie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, how are you doing? I know it's been really crazy with elections and campaigning.
yeah. I'm looking forward to election day, and I'm hoping it's all going to work out and be worth it. But I think my body, that like I mentioned, we're catching up earlier, but I think my body really is not reacting well to stress again. And I got chancelled, so like indigestion. My friend yesterday, she was so kind and she had like indigestion medicines. I've been taking it and it's been helping, but clearly there's like a longer um term like cure to this or a way to deal with it rather than just taking medicine. It's just a lifestyle and, being less
Mhm.
stressed and
And
being
you're
traveling.
traveling too.
Yeah, like right now I'm in LA. I just got in a little over a day ago and I just, being almost 40, my body is in so much pain. What are we talking about today, Prisca?
We are talking about a very juicy topic today, our exes.
Yeah, this is gonna be juice-alicious.
Juicelicious.
Juice-alicious.
Yeah. So let's just get right into it.
Okay.
Well, let's go first, just all the way back to our first loves, our first exes. And it can be from childhood or anytime. Who was your first love, Grace?
Our first crush.
First crush?
I feel like love is such a strong word. Um, First crush was this guy named Sean
Mm-hmm.
in kindergarten. Um,
Oh,
I know he's like a blonde kid. I think he had like, what do you call the hair when it's like long in the back?
a mullet?
A mullet. He had a mullet.
You're
Sean
into
would have,
mullet.
huh?
You're into mullets.
I was into Sean. I thought he was cute. And like we were in, there's a corner in kindergarten where you read books and there are bean bags. And then
Mm-hmm.
Sean like reached over to hold my hand and then he kissed me.
Oh my God.
Sean was my first crush. It was scandalous. Like
Wow.
a kindergartner. I
Wow. So
know.
he
Why
made a
did
move.
he made a move? I think he kissed me on the cheek, but it was still scandalous because it's like you're like 5.
But do you remember how you felt when you were 5? Were you just like, okay? Or
I
did
don't
you
remember
feel?
exactly. I feel like I was probably in shock, but it was memorable enough that I remember it like 30 plus years later. So,
Wow.
yeah, so Sean, blonde mullet, and I remember him being cute, and then he like held my hand and then pecked me on the cheek or something, kissed me, and then I think we got called out, and then we had to like go to our tables or something.
Wait, you
No
got
one else
called
was in that corner, the book corner.
in the secret little corner where you're just like doing secret things.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's not that secret because everyone could see, but yeah, it was just kind of like
Yeah.
our why were we the only ones there? Is really anyways. What about you? What was your first crush or love?
Um, it was so innocent. Like in 5th grade, there was this guy named Chris.
Oh.
And I guess we both liked each other. I don't remember how it started, but it was just very innocent. And we actually like went on dates. Like our parents like dropped us off at the movie theater and we watched a movie together. We watched Liar Liar. Have you seen that? I don't know if it was
Yeah.
like totally appropriate for our age.
Jim
Um,
Carrey, right? Didn't he do
yeah,
Lion? Yeah, yeah. That's like probably not appropriate for kids.
yeah. And yeah, so we were like dating, and he was so sweet, so nice. We played together a lot. And I went to Korea, so I had to leave school early because I went
Uh-huh.
to Korea that summer, and he got me a necklace gift before I
Uh-huh.
left.
Uh-huh.
It was just really sweet. And then it kind of fizzled out after we started middle school because we went to different schools. But the interesting thing was when I started college, like within that first week, I met this girl from that town, that I had grown up in, where I had, you know, dated Chris. And I was like, "Oh, I'm also from there." And um I was like trying to ask her if she knew anybody, and she knew Chris, and she actually had dated him.
Oh,
And they were
awkward.
still friends. Like I think they had broken up, but it was amicable. And so
Okay.
she called him and I talked to him on the phone. And so we like reconnected after, I don't know, since fifth grade to college, what is that? Like 8 years? Yeah. So we talked a little bit on the phone and reminisced
How was it?
on our childhood. It was fun. It was nice. It was a
And
nice
she was chill about
conversation.
it, clearly, right? Because it was so
Yeah,
long
totally
ago.
chill. She was like really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first love.
Chris, and then you met her another
And
ex-girlfriend
I met her. Yeah, his ex.
or his
We're both exes.
exes meeting each
Yeah.
other.
Did you date in high school?
Yeah, I did. I
I'm
dated.
asking that and I already know what the answer is.
Oh, I
I don't
felt like
know
you were
why.
asking me didn't know. Yeah, I dated.
Yeah.
I dated this in high school I dated this one guy. No, two guys.
Oh yeah.
Innocent. I dated this guy when I was a freshman in high school and he was a senior. That's kind of scandalous when you're in high school, like to date an
Mm.
upperclassman as an underclassman. And he was at a different school. Um, and then he had like a souped up car that was a trend back then, like the car rims were like silver or monochrome and like
Oh
low to the
dang.
ground. They would do car racing and um I remember like he tried to hold my hand when we were at a movie theater, like watching a movie with some friends, and that just was like my hand was limp and I was like really not wanting to touch his hand. Um,
Why?
huh?
Why?
Oh, well, I think it's because I grew up in such a conservative Christian church background, Korean church background, so I feel like it was so sinful and evil to like hold hands with any guy and
Mhm.
have any physical touch at all. So I know he would always try to like kiss me like whenever I remember we were leaving the movie theater and he went in for a kiss, I just like moved my head and then I walked out. Poor guy. Apparently it didn't last that long because he probably wanted physical affection. And then the next girl he dated, apparently he had like hickeys all the time on his neck and stuff. So I'm not gonna say who it is. Teenage boys, what do you expect? And then there's me
Yeah.
that's like scared to touch people because my church told me not to touch anyone.
You can just imagine your hand going.
Literally, he's like holding my hand. I'm just like, and I'm like looking away, like
And you
disinterested,
guys didn't like say anything in that moment. It was just
a limp hand. Wait, did you date in high school too?
I didn't date in high school.
How
I
come?
mean, I was, like, pretty sheltered too, like we talked
Mhm.
about, so I
Yeah.
just had no idea, like, what I was doing,
Mm.
what to do, and, also, I don't think I was, like, cool. So I don't know if anybody found me attractive or anything, but I definitely had a crush,
Yes.
starting from, like, almost, like, day 1 of high school, and do you think I can
Yeah, you should say it. We already know.
everybody knows, like, I had a
Okay.
crush on his name
Mm.
and, now he's currently a state representative, right? And, um, we got to reconnect at your wedding last
He's
year, and
not straight.
he's not
That's the
straight.
zinger. He's
He's not straight.
actually she had a crush on, but he would never be interested in Prisca.
He would never and he wasn't interested in me. It was like unrequited and how do you say it?
Unrequited love.
Unrequited
Jaksara.
love, yeah. Which probably was just turned out for the better for me, so I could
Well,
just
clearly
focus
it did.
I could just focus on school,
Wait, so what did it
my
look like, you
activities.
crushing on him? Like, what did you
Huh?
do? What did you do as, like, someone that you adored and, like, had a
I
crush on, like,
just, like
stared at him?
yeah, like, adored him from afar. No, he was in
What?
some of my classes, and I told some people, and actually, like, word got around, and I'm pretty sure he knew. I'm pretty sure he knew, and I felt really awkward about it, and I didn't like that, the word got around to him, because then it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, now he knows that I'm crushing on him, so I don't really know how to act. But, I mean, he was nice. He was really sweet and still is.
He's so
Um,
sweet still.
yeah.
I mean, women and men both have crushes on him right now. Like, women adore, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's a good crush to have.
Yeah, and we ended up going to, homecoming together, and that was fun.
Did you ask
But
him or did he
I
ask you? Like, how did that happen?
oh, I think he asked me. I don't I my high school memories are
Oh,
so blurry,
got it.
so far away.
Yeah, it was far.
But I remember being really nervous, and also because, again, I was sheltered.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to, like, dance or anything.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
remember I didn't really do much on the dance floor.
Limp hands, limp
Yeah,
hands.
limp body. I'm like, I don't know how to move my body. I don't
Oh.
know. Um, yeah, so that was that. That was high school. And I also didn't really date much in college.
Oh.
Cause just I went to a church where dating was like really non-existent. It was very strict, very
Mhm.
conservative.
Yeah.
Um, really just like watching us all the time, the guy girl interactions.
I hate that. Too much
Yeah,
scrutiny.
just felt like I was being watched all the time.
I don't like that.
So what would happen was like if I was like studying with a guy friend,
Mhm.
for example, I would find out later that that guy had been talked to by the leaders, and
My God, that's so annoying.
then things would become weird between us
Yeah.
because he would distance himself, and I'd be like, why?
That's so
And it's like
stupid.
not even there was not even anything between us
Right.
in the first place.
Right.
But even if there was, just
Right.
let it like be. Because, we're young and learning about relationships. And but I mean I did the same thing too. Like I remember I went on this mission trip after freshman year. The summer after freshman year, we went on a mission trip, and during like how sometimes, you perform in the public square, like body worship and things like that. So
Yeah.
we had a performance, and
Oh.
afterwards I was talking with this guy friend, and we had a conversation about that performance, and we were like, yeah, it was like really powerful, very moving. And then afterwards, I talked to like the was also part of the trip, and I was like, yeah, I had this conversation with the guy about how blessing it was and how it really touched us.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's the kind of conversation that you would only have with your husband.
What?
And me being so young, I was like
You feel
19.
bad.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a slut. Like, or like
That's so
I felt
real.
so like I had given myself to this guy when it was really just nothing, But I just
Yeah.
sort of had this kind of twisted idea of the relationship afterwards. And so I totally ignored him for like the next
Oh,
year. And he was a little bit upset at me, which he had
yeah.
every right to, because without any explanation, I just started distancing myself because I thought
Oh,
I had done something wrong.
yeah.
Um, so that was like the culture for me in college, but I did end up dating my junior year.
Oh, so you did date even despite the culture of like
Yeah, and I
like
ended up dating
shame
that
around
guy.
you. A different guy, your
No,
husband?
that guy, the one that I
Oh,
have been ignoring.
that's funny. Well, I just feel like Korean churches, at least the immigrant churches that we grew up in, they don't teach you a healthy way of having relationships with the opposite sex and also
Yeah.
how to deal with your hormones. And also that you can't have a romantic relationship with the opposite sex and make mistakes and learn and that be okay. But all of this, like the purity culture, I think
Oh yeah.
really mess with our heads because I just remember when my ex and I like kissed for the first time. After we kissed, like I went to the other side of the room in the corner, like fetal position, and started bawling my eyes out because I thought I committed such a horrible sin. Like I felt so
Mhm.
much shame, you know?
Yeah.
But somehow we ended up with people like good men, good husbands. How did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, throughout your dating journey, I'm sure like both of us, we learned a lot about like what are red flags and green flags to look out for in a relationship after having experienced
Yeah.
the red flags. So what were they for you?
The red flags or the green flags?
I guess both.
I think a red flag that I had with some of my exes is when they put their work and themselves above anything that you have with them in the relationship. So it
Mhm.
always trumps. I mean, it happened a lot with always. If they had a work event, he would just cancel whatever plans or trips we had and then go on to the next thing. And I
Mm.
think that was tough. I think another red flag is being secretive about the relationship and not sharing with people that you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Red flags are openly flirting with other women in front of you.
Mm.
Your face, you're like, what the
Like
heck?
what would he do?
Flirt back with women who flirt in front of him, even when I'm right next to them, because it was a relationship was secretive.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a red flag, a major one. Other red flags is um how my family feels or close friends if they feel like something's off and they don't they think the person's very self-centered and not thoughtful of other people.
Mm.
Um yeah, that happened with one of my exes. My sister was like, "This is the most selfish person you've ever dated. Like, I don't like this person for you." But at the time, I had no idea. Like, I was just like blinded, I guess. But my
Yeah.
sister never talks about anyone in that way. And when she talks, she like, she's being very honest and like looking out for me.
Mm. So
Uh,
after she told you that, how did you respond?
yeah, she told me that after we had broken up. So at that point, it didn't
Mm.
really matter.
But it made sense.
It made sense. It's just like
Yeah.
at the time, I just couldn't see it. I was just like so insecure. You know, when you're really insecure, I think like you also attract like unhealthy people. So
Mhm.
once I started going to therapy, learning to love myself, learning to hold myself in higher regard and not just like honestly, I think it is like things that come up from having grown up in a single mom home, my mom raising us and an absent dad. Like this
Mhm.
relationship with like men as a romantic partner is just really tough for me.
Mm.
And so I was very insecure in my romantic relationships with men, but in my female relationships, I always felt so secure. Like I have really good female friends like you and
Mhm.
Christine, and Lena. But like with men, it was always until I learned to love myself and I saw like the value that I had as like a person, as a human, as like a daughter of God. That's when I was like, okay, then I started to like be able to attract healthier men. And that led to me meeting my husband now, Trevor.
Mm.
And he's like the most secure man, the like very supportive, doesn't have like any of the red flags that I mentioned. So
Yeah. I'm so happy for you.
me too. Yeah. I mean, that's the benefits of therapy, right? Like,
I mean, it takes a journey and a lot of work
yeah.
to find that security. Because
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah, relate to feeling insecure in different ways too, and that affecting
Mm.
the people I attracted.
Yeah.
Um, so with my ex from college, the red flag for me there, which I should have honestly, like, it was there from the start. And if I were later in my life and that happened, then I would have immediately just like cut it off. But one of the things that he would do was like gaslighting
Oh.
and just communication really wasn't there. And part of it was my fault too. Like I didn't at that age know how to communicate um like things that I wanted to bring up. Like I was kind of like expecting that he should already know what I was upset about. But on the other hand, there were times that I did try to bring things up, like, oh, I feel like, I would really love to spend more time together or have like weekly date nights or something just small. And what he would do it was like he would like turn it around on me and make me feel like there was something wrong with me for bringing things up. And in the moment, I did feel bad. Like he made me feel bad about myself. And I felt bad. Like, oh, I feel bad for even just bringing this up. Or like, oh, this is a reflection of just my own insecurity and my
Mm.
neediness for asking for things or having
Yeah.
an issue with something. So then
That's
in the end, I would end up just apologizing or feeling bad about it when at the beginning I was the one who had something to bring that I wanted to resolve. So there was that. One thing that really stuck with me in that relationship was he told me that he had a dream, and the dream was that I
mm.
was like I had become this like prominent leader,
Oh.
and I was just like going around shaking hands with like the president or with like people who were very powerful like in this world.
Mhm.
And as he was sharing it, initially I was like, "Oh wow, that's cool."
Yeah, that is
But
cool.
then slowly I realized he was sharing it to share about how it made him feel, and he said that being my partner in that scenario, watching me, do my thing and growing, it made him feel so small.
Mm.
And yeah, and then
Red
he was
flag.
starting to talk about himself and how it made him feel like negative and kind of like it was my fault for making him feel that way. So in the end,
Wild.
I felt like I was put in the position of having to console him
Oh
for
God,
having that
what?
dream. And yeah, looking back, I'm like, what? Well, that's your dream. It's like your subconscious, first of all. Didn't
What a
It didn't really
weirdo.
happen. But then second of all, if that kind of thing did happen, why can't you be happy for me? Or why
Exactly.
isn't that something that we can uh see in a positive way? Why is it seen in such a negative light and having such a negative impact on you? So are you saying that I have to make myself small for you?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
in the end, I think
Ooh,
that's how I really did feel in that relationship. Um,
I hate that.
yeah, so it was not healthy. It was not a
That's
healthy.
such a major red flag when they make you
Yeah.
feel so small and it's because of their own insecurities.
Yeah.
That's not hot when men are insecure. No,
I
Riz.
remember I told my parents in college, I was like, I'm gonna marry the first guy that I date.
Oh,
And
why did you say that?
well, I thought they would be pleased.
Oh,
Like I thought they would be, like, because they're conservative and
conservative.
Um, but they just laughed in my face. They were like, "Ah, you're so stupid. You're a pebble," which is like idiot in Korean.
Stupid idiot.
Yeah, and I was shocked. Like, why are they laughing at me? I thought they would like
Yeah,
that.
it
But
makes
they were
sense
on
now.
the page of like, you need experience. You need
That's
to
good.
get around. Which I started to see that despite them being somewhat conservative, they are still a lot more open than
Open-minded.
even my like church culture was.
Yeah, that's so
A
interesting.
lot. It was a wide difference.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But they
Any
did
other?
meet first
Mhm.
that ex, and
Oh,
I don't think they
liked
I
him.
don't think they liked.
Parents really know.
They
My
know.
mom, when
Yeah.
she met these men, she would never tell me what she thinks until after we broke up. And then
Same.
she's like, this is what I thought, and this, but you have to make your own mistakes, basically. And I was like,
Which I
me
appreciate
too,
that
because I
approach.
wouldn't listen to her anyways.
Yeah. And that was totally opposite of the church experience
Yeah, that is
because
true.
they're trying to control every step,
Yeah,
and trying to help you avoid mistakes, but that's
yes.
just not human. That
It's
that
not
does
because
not serve
we're,
us at
that's
all.
right. We're human. We make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what my mom told me when I was in high school? You probably heard the same story from your parents too. There's like a couple of like PKs in Georgia who had gotten pregnant as teenagers in high school and then they had to drop out or they got shunned and like kicked out of their home and family. So my mom would tell me, Grace, if you ever get pregnant, you need to tell me. Don't be afraid to tell me. I will be there for you. Don't hide it. Just tell me. But then she'll
Wow.
say, don't have sex.
Yeah.
She says, don't have sex.
I never
But
had a Did you have a sex talk?
no, but that was her sex talk. She would be like, if you ever get pregnant, you need to tell me. Don't hide it. Don't be afraid. I don't want you to be alone in it.
Yeah.
But then,
But that's
but then,
even like, I mean, that is so that's not a
progressive.
lot, but it is a lot for,
Yeah.
I feel like, the world that we came from.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was literally just sex. Don't do it.
Yeah.
That was the talk.
Yeah. I think it was more implicit, not explicitly stated.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think in church, it was always sex was always talked about as if it was just like an evil thing. So
Did we ever even talk about it at our church?
I don't, I
I don't remember ever talking
don't,
about sex or even dating,
I
but
kind
maybe,
of remember it,
yeah,
but I,
wasn't listening in general.
I kind of remember it being like just looked down upon. Like it came from somewhere where like we would feel this way because it was talked about in that way. Anyways, so were there any green flags that you had with your exes?
Um, yeah, so I was in like a situationship at the
Oh,
end of near the end of grad school. And I actually really I wasn't looking for a relationship during grad school. It was just so busy. and I think maybe he had feelings for me throughout, but I just didn't catch on to it. I was so oblivious. But near the end, I felt like my eyes were open. I was like, oh, he's a good guy. But then because we were gonna move to different parts of the world, basically, it just nothing was gonna happen. But he was a really good guy. He treated me very respectfully, like always being sensitive to my needs and
Oh,
yeah, like taking care of me, but in
yeah,
ways that weren't like overbearing or too
yeah.
much.
Mm.
And it's kind of sad because my experience with my previous ex,
Mm.
and just some other, I guess like men in general in my life, like it wasn't a very good experience. So to have sort of the opposite experience of that, where somebody was treating me like
So
kindly,
well.
well, and caring and gentle.
Mm.
Um, I think I was kind of going through, uh, oh, my experience with men is just so bad that all men are bad. I was going
Mm.
through this like hater phase.
Yeah.
But then just having this friendship slash situationship made
Mm.
me realize like, oh, all men aren't bad. Like, duh, there are good people
Mhm.
out there.
Mhm.
And it sort of opened me up a little bit more to
Mm.
dating again,
Well, I'm
basically.
so glad for that situationship because usually people see situationships as a negative thing, but for you, it gave you a insight into how you could be treated respectfully and taken care of and what the standard should be.
Yeah, and I think just because of the circumstances, we
Yeah,
couldn't really take it any further.
yeah,
But even with that, it was just very
respectful.
respectful.
I
Yeah,
love
like
that.
respecting
A
the
mature relationship.
boundaries and like not taking it far where me couldn't be friends.
Yeah.
You
Would
know
you
what I mean?
say that you were in an emotionally better and healthier place to be in that kind of situationship with that kind of guy, like a respectful guy? Like, was there something internally that was different and maybe emotional maturity versus when you were
Mhm.
in those relationships with all those red flag men?
Yeah, I think I mentioned in a previous episode that I had been in a very toxic friendship. And
Yes.
I think once that ended,
Yeah.
I felt like this fog was lifted in
Mm.
my mind and
Mm.
my body. Like in every
Wow.
way, I felt just sort of freed to be myself
Yeah.
and be more confident in myself. So I think, yeah, I was in a better place emotionally. And plus, it had been a little bit more time being in New York. Remember, we were talking about our New York days, and it was just like, chaos and partying and wild and all that.
Free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
free. And by the end, I think I had a little bit more of a hold on myself. Um, yeah, so then after that, I ended up moving back to Atlanta, and that's when I started dating Jeff. And
Your
I think I was in
husband.
a better place to
Yeah.
date. And even just like little practical things, like I think before I couldn't really, um, I didn't even, I was not aware of when people were making moves or,
Oh.
the playing the game, like
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
was just so not aware of the
Wow.
signs or anything. But
Yeah.
I think when I had to learn that and
Well, you learn indeed because you have so much riz
no, I
now.
I
You have
don't.
so much
That's such
riz.
a lie.
You have riz. We just learned what riz was a year ago from Bobe. But like Prisca's got the
Uh,
most riz of them
I
all.
do not.
Yeah,
I'm the
you do.
opposite of Riz. I'm so
Oozing of
awkward.
charisma. No, now you do. I'm
Okay.
saying now you do. Like in the last couple years, things have shifted.
Debatable. But yeah, I think I'm attracted to people with Riz. I never use that term, so it feels weird to say it
Uh-huh.
because I don't have it. So when I first met Jeff, I felt like he was so charismatic. He knew how to carry a conversation. You know, like when conversations sort of start fading out,
Yeah.
and I panic because I'm like, I
Oh,
don't know
what to
how
do.
to carry this conversation or what to say to move on to the next thing. And
Yeah.
I internally just so much anxiety.
Yeah.
But then he's the kind of
I've been there.
person who just knows what to say and
Yeah.
fills in the gaps. And I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really good at that.
Yeah, I think I learned over the years. Like I used to be very anxious and nervous too when I was younger, but yeah, I just like really love being around people and making friendships. So
Mhm.
no, but Riz doesn't mean you have to be like socially extroverted and always like carry conversations. It's just this charisma, unspoken charisma that you have. I think our friend Jen Park has it too. Like she's just like
Mm-mm.
people are drawn to her and they want to give her free food and drinks wherever we go. You know, that's one type of Riz. But like
Mm.
you have a Riz too, and I think it's like it's not romantic. It's just like people you carry yourself in a way that people are drawn to you, and it's a good thing. I think as we get older and going into our 40s and later into our 50s, we're probably gonna ooze even more Riz because they're just like more self-aware, more secure. You just like,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'll receive that.
Good, receive it. Like, stop rejecting the compliments. You're being so Korean.
But yeah, I think the confidence thing really makes a difference
Yeah,
as we grow, as we progress, through our relationships, just
yep,
knowing ourselves more and also learning what we want from a
yeah,
partner.
yes. How do we get to where we are, where we met like the men that we're married to now? You want
Yeah.
to share? How do you end up with Jeff?
How did I end up with him?
It's been so long.
It was so yeah, we married young.
Yeah, you were
I
really
I
young.
remember when I first met him, I was like, I don't want this is not serious.
Yeah.
I told him I just got out of this situationship and I'm just exploring. I don't want to, make it serious, la la la. And then a few months later, we're like, I love you. It's
How old
been
were you? Was it like 24?
probably yeah, 24,
Yeah,
23.
23. So young. Yeah, right
So
out of
young.
college
It was
and
so young.
grad school.
And
Right after our young, wild, and free times in New York.
I consider myself lucky that at that age we met and somehow,
Hmm.
he wasn't this crazy person. Because I wouldn't
Yeah,
say at 23, yeah, I was a little bit more confident than I was a few years prior, but I still didn't know what I wanted. I
exactly.
didn't I didn't know anything about
Yeah,
marriage or even what I wanted for myself.
that's right.
Um, but it ended up working out. And yeah, I was attracted to his confidence,
Mm,
his charisma, because I felt like a lot of the guys that I was surrounded by at the time,
mm.
uh, I don't know, like I felt that my personality was a little strong,
Yeah,
and I wanted somebody who could like
match you.
match it, but
Yeah,
not like
dominate it.
dominate me.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I'll still win.
Yeah. Does Jeff know that you will always win?
That I will always win.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm always right.
Yeah, that's what marriage is
Just
about.
kidding.
Give in to the
Yeah.
woman. Just kidding.
And he was forward.
Yeah,
So when we first started hanging out, I think I invited him to a hot yoga session. And afterwards, during the session, he was like struggling. I
yeah.
looked over at him, his eyes were like rolling in the back of his head just because it's so hot.
Hot yoga
And
sucks. It's painful. It's like
it
torture.
is. But afterwards, we were supposed to meet up with our friends at like a Korean place or something. But he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm feeling Korean. Do you want something else?"
Smooth.
And I was like, "Oh, but I thought we were supposed to meet up with our friends." Because again, I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to do. But then it hit me. I was like, "Oh," like in the moment. Like, I see what you're doing.
Want some
So then
time with you.
I told him like, oh yeah, actually, I think I want pizza. So we went to get pizza. And after dinner, he told me that he was interested in me. And I
I
was
love
like,
that. He was
yeah,
so direct,
I like it when it's just, let's just
clear.
state it what it is
Yeah,
and go from there. I don't really enjoy playing games.
yeah,
It's hard for me to guess what people are
yeah,
feeling in general.
yeah.
So yeah, I like that. What about you?
Oh, with Trevor,
Mhm.
I literally was about 9 months into my therapy in New York, living in New York for the second time. And yeah, this was like 5 years ago. And I was learning to love myself, like learning my working through the trauma of the past with my dad being absent. And also it was a lot of like therapy with my on my exes and like the trauma from the exes.
Mhm.
And I think like growing up, I because my dad is a pastor and my parents separated when I was in high school, I was just like, I'm never gonna be with a Christian guy, and definitely
Mhm.
not a Korean Christian guy. But the therapy helped me be open to someone who's not only Christian, but someone in ministry. So when I got on the app for the first time, I met my now husband on Coffee Meets Bagel. I remember seeing campus minister as his like work title, and it didn't trigger me in a negative way. Like I was very open to like, connecting with him on the app and meeting him. And I think, really working through doing the hard work of healing, the healing process of the past and realizing not all people who are Christians, especially men, are going to like abandon me and leave me and be
Mhm.
like my dad. And my therapist had to keep teaching me like, he's not your dad. He's a different person. I'm like, oh, right. I keep equating all these men like my dad.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that really helped me find a healthy relationship with my now husband. And I met him 5 years ago.
Mhm.
We got married last January in a small family wedding, and then in Seattle with you
Mhm.
guys, you and your son performing at our wedding and being such a centerpiece in Seattle last summer.
So
But
special.
it was really
Really
special.
special.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
would say like once I learned, so when people ask me like, "Oh, how did the app work and all this stuff? Like, how did you meet your husband? And what advice do you have for me, especially younger single woman in New York City, where it's like a big city
Mhm.
with just it's tough to date." I'm like, learn to love yourself first and get to a good place, because then you'll be able to have have wisdom to know what's good for you so that you are also going after people who are going to treat you with respect, and
Mhm.
that'll lead to a more potential long-lasting relationship that could be potential marriage. So I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, take it, focus on yourself, work that all out. And then, I mean, as a Christian, for me, like I prayed over my app like every single day. I prayed before my dates, and I just had a great time on the app. But I know most people don't. I was like
Mhm.
just really intentional about everything I did.
Yeah.
I think that really paid off.
Yeah, for real.
For real.
No,
Because
just
Trevor's
seeing
nothing.
the
Yeah.
process for
Yeah.
you from like prior to meeting Trevor
Yes.
and then to now. I
Yeah.
do
Tell me
see
what you
that
see.
everything was very intentional
Okay. Yeah.
and really starting with yourself. And I think like what you were saying about like he's not your dad. And and kind of like what I was saying too, like the men that I date are not like my previous
Right.
experiences. Like I have to separate that. It
Yes.
is really hard.
It
But
is.
if you don't heal from those past things, then actually in the relationship, you start to expect that person to fulfill this huge hole that
Yes.
they can't fill. And it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you
And
can't move forward without dealing with the past. So until you deal with the past, the past will keep moving forward with you and
mhm,
taint your relationships.
Yeah, because I think I had that experience in my marriage where I think
Mm.
I was expecting my
Mm.
partner to fulfill a lot of this like
Mm.
emotional needs that I think yes, we do have to do that for each other,
Right.
but to the extent that I was needing it,
Yeah.
there was a part of me that needed to heal that he
Yeah.
can't do, right? It's like
Yeah.
my work.
Mm,
Um,
that's
and
good.
it,
That's
it
so
is
good.
hard to do it like while deep in a relationship, in the middle
Yeah.
of it, trying to find yourself
Mm.
while having kids.
Oh, I can't imagine because I don't even have kids and it's hard to deal with myself. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Um,
I'm proud of
but
you.
it all, I
Yeah.
think, in the end, I'm proud of us because
I'm
I
proud
feel
of
like we
us
really, yeah, walked through those challenges and
together.
together
Yeah.
and like committed to it and didn't
Yes.
abandon ourselves even when it was hard.
I know. I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember like when you visited last time, I was like
Yeah.
in a totally different place
I remember.
and
It
just
was
it was
tough.
like such a low point for me.
Yeah.
So being able to witness each other in different seasons and
Yeah.
stages, that is
Yeah.
really amazing because
I'm
it
gonna
changes.
cry. I'm
Yeah.
so moved and grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a blessing that we have each other like since we were in high school, potentially after late middle school. But yeah, through all these different seasons.
I know. And like what still stuck with me was in our previous episode where we talked
Mhm.
about in high school, we would
Mm.
just kind of go crazy in the
Mhm.
where
The
was it? In the
hallway,
stairs or the
the
hallways of
staircase.
the church
Yeah.
and just like singing and dancing.
Yes.
I think that was our way of releasing our pain and the things that we were going through
Yeah.
without really knowing how to communicate it, but it was just our way of connecting and releasing. But then over
Yeah.
the years, as we mature and like get to know ourselves better and like have a
Yeah.
language to
Yeah.
support each other,
Yeah.
it's really different. Like
Yeah.
we can still do that, like be crazy and
Yeah.
I mean we have. I have
I
pictures
know,
of
just
us
like I know. Not
from
even
last
drunk,
year, the
just
year
like go
before.
wild,
Mm-hmm.
rolling around
Yeah.
laughing
Yeah.
outside at midnight.
I
Carolyn's lawn.
know. I'm still kind of embarrassed.
Don't be.
Mm.
You just have to
Yeah.
accept it. That's who we are. It was nice to just like reflect on our exes and the dating culture, and actually it led us to who we are today, and like how we're in our current relationships and how
Hmm.
we make sense of our own marriages too and relationships
Yeah.
around us. So I'm
Yeah. And
grateful
I
for
think,
this conversation.
yeah, anything that, I mean, I feel that I considered like a mistake or
Yeah.
just a bad choice, it's something I had to learn from.
Yeah,
I just didn't know. And
that's right.
the
Hmm.
important lessons.
Hmm. Mm, it's good.
Yeah. Good talks.
Good talks. Always
Good
a good
talk.
talk.
So we decided we're going to try the word game again.
Oh my God.
And hopefully it won't be go into a dark place like last time,
Yeah.
like where we're just talking about hell and Satan and
Oh God. And then
this.
end it with angels. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So just to review, the goal of this game is for both of us to try and say the same word at the same time.
Great.
Yeah.
We can do it.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a word?
Yep.
All right. One, two, three.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. What? That's crazy.
I saw the pineapple in your
Oh
background. It just like
my
really
gosh.
stood out. Is that why?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say hearts, but then I saw the pineapple and it was bigger. So I was like, oh, let me just say that.
But there was like a
Wow.
delay, but I feel like we
We
said at the same time, even though there's a delay.
There wasn't a delay for me.
Oh, there wasn't. Okay, good. Oh
We
my God.
won! Won!
Wow, we won. We said pineapple at the same time.
Oh my
That's
gosh!
amazing.
Thank you to all our listeners who have been tuning in. We're so grateful for you. And hopefully, yeah, you can stay connected. If you want to DM us, shoot us a message on our
Yes.
Instagram, which is
At Fighting Club Podcast, and like us and put a 5-star rating and comment too. We
yeah.
want to hear from you.
So to all our friends listening,
Fighting! Hi, everyone. So, Prisca and I want to give you an update that because there's a lot going on leading up to Election Day, on November 5th, I will do a reaction video on our Instagram. So stay tuned and look out for the reaction to the presidential election results. And we're going to skip November 11th, which is, I believe it's Veterans Day. And then we'll be back for our last 2 episodes on November 18th and 25th for our first season of Fighting Club podcast. And we'll be in touch with more there on our season 2. But we have 2 more episodes left on November 18th and 25th. But go to our Instagram account, Fighting Club Podcast, in order to see a live reaction video to the November 5th election results.